So I'm checking the answer for the question, delineate the role of integrity and impartiality in public administration. So integrity and impartiality are essential principles in public administration. Integrity involves unwavering adherence to moral values. That is correct. And then while impartiality ensures unbiased treatment of stakeholders. That's right. So these principles underpin the trust of the citizens. Yeah, so it could have stopped here in the introduction. So there is no need to write more here in the introduction. Like better to limit 2 or 3 lines for the introduction maximum. That's it. Not to go beyond that. 2 or 3 lines. If one is going to 2 to 3 lines, that is fine. So then we can also cut this. Integrity and impartiality are the essential principles of the public administration can also be cut because that's why the question has been asked, right? So then we have to understand. So instead, okay, a kind of definition is already given here. So then, so we have to have the role of integrity and impartiality. So integrity in public services. Integrity involves prioritizing public welfare over personal gains. That is true. Then responsible use of power. That is true. Responsible use of power. Sridharan Metro Man of India ensured metro projects. Okay. Yeah, so integrity ensures responsible use of power, transparency in administration. Yeah. So one point here is that, so avoid taking examples from mythology when questions are directly asked in say public administration, especially the bad part. So we can take the examples from Lord Rama or whoever it is, uh, especially in the case of ethics. But when the question is directly asked in the public administration, so we can take so examples from various section. But I would suggest one thing, like keep different professions in mind. So one is that police, okay. So one is that police. Then say doctors, lawyers, teachers, right? So IAS officers. So usually what we do is that like we always keep in terms of like IAS or IPS. So just because of that, like we fall short of examples. But if you spread across like different areas, like take examples of defense or like women in defense or so many other services. So in such cases, you will definitely get a lot of examples. So if we keep such examples in mind, so then we can give like much more examples. So preventing misconduct, that's okay, that's true. Ashok Kemka example is fine. So then, so unbiased decisions. So again here King Harishchandra, yeah, instead of that unbiased decisions, like okay, what we can do is unbiased decisions. Like unbiased decision is also a kind of like impartiality, right? So being impartial in the public services. Yeah, so like we can give an example like what happens in a recruitment, like say ISRO being unbiased in decisions in selecting candidates for a project. So like that. So instead of the impartiality in public services, like since the question is has been asked role, so we have to like specifically write okay role. If you write like this, then it's better. Impartial demands public services. Yeah, so service without prejudice. Yeah, election commission is a good example. So free and fair election, tolerance and restraint. Yeah, Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, but tolerance and restraint. So what the candidate is trying to convey tolerance and restraint. Showcase tolerance, but how tolerance is directly connected to impartiality. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, then fair treatment of all citizens. Again, the example of Yudhishthira, like that could have been avoided. Yeah, the example of section 377 is fine. Yeah, so along with that, so there are several other points that can be added when it comes to impartiality in services. So, see, we see impartiality in like various, like the services provided to people, right? For example, it could be, say, take an example of welfare state. In that PDS scheme. So how impartiality plays a big role in PDS scheme. We can write that. Say take examples of Narega. Take different examples of service delivery. Right. For example, a passport seva kendra. So why impartiality is important in a passport seva kendra? Why impartiality is important like in registering an FIR? So given a case with the police, and then impartiality is very much helpful or very much needed in case of uh, transparent tender processes. So you take an example of BBMP or anything, right? Why we should have a transparent process. So then impartiality, like for example, when we take Citizenship Amendment Act, we can also write saying that it was criticized uh, for being partial towards certain religious groups. We can write like this, not an issue. So, and then impartiality is very much needed to reduce ambiguity in work, and then while a superior or a senior allocates specific work to the juniors. So impartiality between center-state relationship, for example, GST allocation, north and south, like who has to get more fund, grants in need, and then declaring a disaster. Like there are so many examples that we have read on a day-to-day basis. So what happens when we give poor examples? Like we have a lot of potential, and then we have so much. We have read so many current affairs, and in spite of that, like we give like we write like very minimal examples as if like we haven't read. So the point is that like we have to better utilize what we have read, and then give better examples that are very relevant to the question and public administration. So with that, yeah, the answer can be much better. Thank you very much.